Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger bringing you the one and only keto without the crazy. Now, this video today is kind of a follow up to the previous one on parameters and actions, changing our actions around food, our behaviors, and setting those parameters. So, if you haven't already watched that one, go ahead, go back and watch that one first because this one might make a little more sense. And I want to say it's just the previous video on my channel, but sometimes I post things out of order and I have a couple of live broadcasts that I'm going to be doing coming up. So I'm not sure where this one's going to fall, but the video you want to watch before this one is the one about actions and parameters and behaviors. Okay. I ended that video saying something about having an accountability partner because whatever food plan or program protocol you might be following, whatever, let's say you do set parameters for yourself, whatever parameters you set for yourself, they do no good if you don't actually stick to them, right? Oh, like think about a blueprint. You're an architect building a building. The blueprint isn't helping you build the building if you don't actually follow the blueprint, right? You're never going to build the thing if you're not actually following the plan. So it does you no good to have this perfectly laid out plan if you're not sticking to it. And I think that having an accountability buddy is really, really helpful for adherence, for helping us stick to the things we want to stick to keep our commitments to ourselves. Now, if you are somebody who has no problem doing keto or low carb and you're getting all the results you want and everything's great, you don't need any help. Like if what you're doing is working, then it's working and you don't need any advice. But if you are struggling, as I know many of you are, and as I do myself from time to time, we need some help every now and then. So an accountability buddy could be anybody. It could be a friend, family member, coworker, somebody you only know online. It doesn't matter who it is. Well, I take that back. It does matter who it is, and I'll tell you why with the example from my own life. I have an accountability buddy who is a very, very dear friend. And I check in with her every morning. I just send her a text. I set my own parameters. Here's the things I'm going to do. Here's the things I'm not going to do. Here's the foods I'm not eating anymore. They're off limits now. And I just check in with her every morning and I just let her know, good, bad, ugly. I was great. Like one of my things is actually bedtime because I'm a night owl to my own self-destruction. So I'm committed to go to bed earlier. So I can tell her, okay, I did great with bedtime, but the food I ate X and Y, which I told myself, they're not on my list, or like I did really great. Food was on point, but I stayed up too late. Whatever it is, I just tell her. And the reason the accountability is important and the reason it needs to be somebody you love and trust and cherish is because I'm not going to lie to this friend. I treasure her friendship too much. I respect her too much to lie to her. So if I have to be truthful. Now, if I'm truthful and if I did step outside my own boundaries that I've set for myself, it's fine. There's no punishment. She doesn't say, well, oh, you're such a terrible person. You'll never figure this out, Amy. You're such a failure. She just says, okay, all right, do better today, or like I'm so proud of you. You did really well yesterday if I did whatever it was. There's no like consequence except the psychological consequence I have of having to tell my friend that I did something that I had committed to not doing. And it helps because eventually it's going to stick, even if it's bumpy and like some days are great, some days not so great, some days are great. Eventually I'm going to get tired of telling this friend that I reneged on my own promise to myself, or that whatever you want to call it, I stepped outside my parameter. Eventually I'm going to get tired of having to tell her that I've been outside so much that I'm going to start keeping in more and more and more. I'm going to stay within those parameters because it's going to make me feel so good to tell her, yesterday was great. I was on point with everything. I got to bed at a reasonable hour. The food was awesome. I didn't eat any of those crazy wackadoodle foods. I didn't engage in any of the behaviors like I mentioned last time. Hey, I didn't eat standing up at all today. Like, that's going to feel so good reporting that to her, that that's just going to become the norm. Again, like I said last time, it's going to be bumpy. It's a learning process. It's an adjustment period, but it'll take. Eventually, that's just going to be the way I live and the way I eat, and it's helping. It's helping. It's a new system that she and I have worked out. I've tried this in the past with other friends, and I totally didn't hold up my end of the bargain, and they never called me out on it. They never would text to be like, "Hey, Amy, you kind of haven't given me any updates in like a week. What's up?" But this time, it's really helping. And my birthday is in a couple of months, and I would like to be rocking some certain clothing items by then. And if I really hunker down, and the accountability is helping. So find someone whom you trust enough to hold your confidence, but someone whose relationship you value enough in your own life that you will be truthful with them no matter what. Like I said, good, bad, ugly. Hey, I ate the whole bag of X yesterday. I did the thing. I went to the drive-thru and I ate the entire thing in the car. Whatever it's going to be. And it's up to you whether or not, whether you could set whatever parameters with this trusted person that you want. Like, if you know you do respond well to tough love, maybe you tell them, hey, listen, if I tell you that I ate this thing yesterday or I did this behavior yesterday, maybe the agreement you have with them is that they are supposed to tell you, straighten up, man, figure this out, like, stop messing around, you're never going to do this unless you do it. They don't have to insult you. They don't have to use, like, in personal insults, but they can sort of crack that whip, like, you said you want to do this, get serious about it already. Or maybe you really don't do well with the tough love. Maybe the arrangement you have with this person is they say, well, it's, you're trying, you're reporting to me, you're being truthful with me, this is a huge step. They could, like, find ways to go out of their way to lift you up. Hey, you ate the thing, we both wish you hadn't, but you're being honest about it. You're telling me, and we know that this is just going to get better over time. There's no right or wrong as to how to arrange this. If you choose to arrange it at all, there's only what works for you, and you could even change it up over time. Change how the relationship works, change the agreement you have, change the parameters. When I first started reporting to this friend of mine, I had like 3 things, and I think it was specific foods. Like, I'm not going to eat this, this, and this. And then over the course of maybe the next 2 weeks, I was like, oh, let me add blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not going to eat standing up. I'm not going to eat. One of my things that I had to commit to is I can't bring a bottle of dressing or olive oil or something to the table. I have to pre-measure it out and put it back and bring my pre-measured serving to the table. Because I personally, and maybe this is true for many of you, I can massively overdo fat from things like blue cheese dressing, ranch dressing, a really good peppery, pungent olive oil. I mean, I could pour that on a spoon and just take. They do that in Italy. They just, like, do a shot of olive oil. If you get a really good quality, it's delicious. So what else can I say? And I know there's one person watching who's horrified, and you know who you are. We can still be friends. But yeah, you can change the parameters anytime, add to them, or take some away. You know what? I know I told you I would do this thing, but it's clearly not working because every day since I told you that, I've gotten into that item. Clearly, I'm not ready for that. I'm going to do this thing instead. I'm going to choose to do these other behaviors that are a little more realistic for me, and I'll put that one on hold for now. Again, no right or wrong at all to this. And I think just as GWAS information, the reason I added new parameters to what I was reporting to my friend was that after I had committed to those initial few, as those couple of weeks went on, I caught myself in other behaviors that I was like, oh, this needs to go too. Like, oh, this has to get on that list. And I think that's a great way to do it. You just expand it over time as needed, because you will, believe me, you will start to see, because now that you're paying attention, that's what I said in the last video. Like, now that your awareness is raised about all this, so you will start seeing the things where you are engaging in problematic behaviors or reaching for foods that you know are not really conducive to getting you where you want to go. All right, I'm gonna end now. I hope this is helpful. Like, I'm gonna embarrass myself here. I'm overly excited about this. And I was last time too, about the just changing the behaviors, like changing the behaviors, changing the actions, and then giving yourself that was the parameters, but then having a trusted partner whom you can report to with regard to how well you are or are not staying within those parameters. I just think this could be a game changer for so many of us, and us because I'm included. And it's not that huge a shift, right? You're not having this radical overhaul of your life or your diet. It's like a little shift that has this massively outsized beneficial impact. So keep that in mind. And if this sort of stuff is helpful for you, I created a new playlist called Binging and Food Addiction. And it has some other videos like this, about a lot of videos about trigger foods, just mindset around all this, but really getting real about the problematic things in your eating life. So I hope this is helpful. Subscribe if you're not already, because why not? Why not? It's free to subscribe, so why not just do it? Subscribe, and I will see you next time.